Peace, it's Equalityfragrances coming to you from Prince George's County, Maryland. Welcome to my cipher. A cipher is a person, place, or thing within my circumference. The understanding of my cipher. It's peace. For all those new to the channel and those who have been supporting me since day one, I humbly appreciate all your support. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell so you'll be notified when I drop some new videos. All of that goes a long way to help the channel grow. Exposure, if you like what I'm doing, it's encouraging. With that being said, come on in, sit down, and let's build. Now that we are entering the autumn season, it's time to start thinking about transitioning over some fragrances. Now, autumn is a funny time. It's almost like spring, where it's that beginning of autumn and that end of spring where it goes from, it can start off really, really cool in the morning to getting almost 85 in the afternoon to cooling back down in the evening. So with that time, I don't start breaking out my ambers, my gourmands, my overly dense fragrances. I personally don't. You can do whatever you want to do. So what I start reaching for is transitional fragrances. And what are transitional fragrances to me? They are fragrances that I don't care if it's around 50 degrees, it's going to fit right in and smell good. And if it goes up to 90 or high 80s, you're still going to smell absolutely fantastic. So today, I'm going to give you 10 options. These aren't the best of the best. I went through my collection and said, let me give people about 10 really good transitional fragrances that they can choose or try out if they don't have it within their collection. Let's start the show. Coming in at number 10 is a fragrance that showed me the way. It opened my fragrance palette up tenfold. This is the fragrance that let me know as a man, you really should start wearing rose fragrances. Anybody or any man that comes up to me and say, hey, I want to try a rose fragrance because I hear people talking about it. Which one should I try because I don't want to smell like grandma? This is the one I will always recommend as a fragrance option. Now, at one point back in 2017, 18, I believe you could have found this for like $30. It was the best $30 I ever spent in my entire life. Nowadays, I don't know if it's a little bit priced is a little bit higher, but it's still a really good fragrance and well blended. This is coming from the house of Cartier, and this is Declaration d'un Soir. Every time somebody asks me, hey, I want to get in the rose, what should I get? I always recommend this fragrance. It's woody, it's fresh, aromatic, spicy, and rosy. It just goes very well with the autumn season. A great transitional fragrance. You can dress this up, dress this down, go on a date. I don't care if you're in a suit or you're in a t-shirt and some jeans. This just absolutely works. And that's Declaration d'un Soir at number 10. Coming in at number 9 is a fragrance that's extremely easy to wear. It has mass appealing qualities to it, very smooth, very inviting, and it's a sensual fragrance. When I say that, it's not loud. For those of you who like beast mode loud fragrances, this isn't going to work for you, but it's a nice fragrance to have and it works for me. And this is coming from the house of Zaharoff, and this is Business Over Pleasure. This was done in collaboration with Ross Carlos TLTG Reviews. Now, I'm going to do a full review on it, so I'm not going to go too much in depth on it and waste y'all time. But on a scale of 1 to 10, I give it a solid 8 out of 10. It didn't blow me away. It doesn't blow me away. I like it. I don't love it. But overall, it's a pleasant scent, and that's probably because of that Palo Santo. Sandalwood and Palo Santo are very meditative fragrances, and if you know the Zaharoff DNA, he goes with that oriental woody, and that's what it dries down to. But in the opening, it's a little fresh, aromatic, spicy. Then it starts getting a little warmth with that cashmere, and then that ambery woody base comes in. Absolutely wonderful. The iris is also a major player in this. A nice fragrance to have, and it's a good transitional fragrance. How would it do when it gets cold? I don't know. It just came out. I haven't tested it when it's cold, but I will be giving it some burn this year. And this is Business Over Pleasure. Coming in number 8 is a masterpiece. You cannot do a video about transitional fragrances, especially from summer to fall, without having this fragrance on your list. If you're a man over 30, you should probably have this fragrance or a variation of this fragrance within your collection. This is signature scent worthy. You can dress this up. You can dress this down. Again, this is a masterpiece. This is coming from the house of Hermès. This is Terre de Hermès. This is the EDT. If you have the vetiver or the Parfum, you're doing good as well. My favorite of all the variations is the Eau Fraiche, but this one right here, you cannot go wrong with it. You have that woodiness. Cedarwood is a major player within the EDT. I get more cedarwood than anything. The vetiver and the patchouli supports it. It's really peppery. That pepper stands out, but then you have that tart orange, and that's because of the orange and the grapefruit. Wonderful woody scent. Absolutely fantastic. And that's from the house of Hermès. That's Terre de Hermès. Coming in at number 7 is a great transitional fragrance. Honestly, you can wear this year round, but it's something about that transition into early fall, autumn, into deep autumn that this fragrance just shines. It has enough sweetness to it, warmth, it's spicy, it's woody, it's leathery. I like this fragrance a lot. I think it's a timeless composition, to be honest. This is coming from the house of Victor and Rolf. This is Spice Bomb, the original. It has just enough sweetness in it where it's not juvenile. It's a lot of elemi. You get that pink pepper. I get a lot of cinnamon, saffron, tobacco, leather, vetiver. It's just a really overall good fragrance. One you should definitely have. I guarantee you, once word ever gets out that this is discontinued, it's going to go for a hefty price, just like every other fragrance. It's just a really good fragrance. And that's Victor and Rolf Spice Bomb. Next up on the list is my favorite designer blue fragrance on the market. It's just a great date night fragrance. It's not overly loud, but it's loud enough that if you're with somebody, you're just gonna smell good. It is a great first date fragrance. If I'm going on a first date, there's a select few fragrances that I would wear. I wouldn't necessarily show up smelling like Blue Sapphire, because you don't know people's palate yet, and they might not be ready for that. And if you ain't dealing with somebody that's in the frag-com, that'll be a little daring. Again, first date, you want to have more dates. I'm probably wearing something like this. It's safe, but it smells absolutely divine. This is from the house of Chanel. This is Bleu De Chanel Parfum. This is my favorite blue designer fragrance on the market that you can buy. Yes, I smell Sauvage Elixir. No, I don't think it's better than this. Is it a good fragrance? Sure. But I'd be damned I paid $160 for that. $85, $90 is about all that fragrance can get from me. That's a whole nother story. Anyway, great fragrance. Great to try. Y'all already know it. It's been around for a while. Many reviews on it, so I'm not going to go too much in depth on it. But it's a great blue fragrance. And that's Bleu De Chanel Parfum. Next up on the list, we're about to start going into the niche fragrances. Again, these weren't in any kind of order. I'm just giving you 10 really good solid fragrances for the transitional time. Anyway, this fragrance, maybe about 4 years ago, a little bit over 4 years ago, got a lot of push in frag-com, right? Since then, nobody really talks about this fragrance. Nobody puts it on the list. I'm going to put it on the list. I'm going to talk about it. This is a year-around leather scent. It's magnificent. There's another fragrance house that's extremely expensive called Royal Crown that has a fragrance that people love that smells just like this. You can go to certain like malls and outlet brick and mortar perfume stores and can find this for like buy one get one $50. That is a steal of a deal. This is from the house of Daniel Josier. This is green leather. It's herbaceous, and that's where the green, I believe that's coming from the thyme. Raspberry, it's more suede than overly leather. If I'm gonna really break this down, think about taking a fragrance like Tuscan leather and really, really, really lightening it up. You can wear this year round. A beautiful blended fragrance. Actually, is gonna be my scent of the day. Absolutely wonderful. There's Daniel Josier, green leather. Next up on the list is a fragrance that people discussed a lot at one point. Nobody talks about it. It doesn't make any list, but I'm going to talk about it. Just because all the new stuff is getting discussed, some of this new stuff ain't better than the old stuff, but that's neither here nor there. That's a rant for another day. This is coming from a house that some people say don't perform well. I don't have performance issues with this fragrance. This is from the house of Byredo. This is Oud Immortel. This is mature. You can wear this year around. Absolutely magnificent. Now, people have compared this to Creed Aventus. Absolutely not. I see why people will say that, but they're absolutely crazy. It's not even remotely. This is like really, really earthy and smoky. You have oak moss, patchouli, and tobacco. And then you have some incense to add smoke. It's like really just almost dark, but not dark. But what makes it beautiful is that candy-like lemon that comes from the limoncello up top, and it has cardamom as well, a little sweet aromatic. Wonderful scent. Sample it though, but this is absolutely, you can wear this year round. Absolutely fantastic. This is Oud Immortel from Byredo. The next fragrance on the list is a good one. It's boozy without being too boozy. You can wear this year round. There's a lightness and a cooling effect that this fragrance has, which is probably coming from the cardamom within this fragrance. It's very crisp, juicy, and just a solid fragrance. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give it about an 8.5. Easily 8.5 to a 9. This is coming from the house of Killian. This is apple brandy on the rocks. Now, out of the 4, this is my least favorite. I'll do a video ranking the 4, but this is my least favorite. And not because it's not a good fragrance, but it's just my least fragrance. It is what it is. And I actually prefer the original over this. But if we're talking about something that's mass appealing, you can wear year round, this is it. That pineapple in here attaches to the apple and it just makes the apple crisp and juicy. That ambroxan and cardamom gives it that rocks cooling effect. It's like taking apple brandy and lightening it up. Wonderful scent. That's apple brandy on the rocks. Next up on the list is a fragrance that has been discussed a lot in Fragcom over the last 3 or 4 years, give or take. I believe this came out in 2016. Don't quote me on that. It's a really good fragrance. It does have a familiar DNA, so it's not overly original, but I like to wear it within these transitional times, so I'm going to discuss the fragrance. This is coming from the house of Vilhelm Perfumerie. This is Morning Chest. Now, what does this smell like? It has the Creed Aventus-esque DNA. It's a very juicy, ripe, crisp bergamot. It almost gives a pineapple kind of effect. The galbanum is very green, almost leafy a little bit. And then you have that smooth Tuscan leather with some ambergris. It's a really good fragrance. If you like fragrances like Cedrat, Boadicea, Hacivat, this is a good one to have. It doesn't perform as good as Hacivat. It just doesn't. But if you want something that's Creed Aventus-esque without being Creed Aventus, this is a good one to look into. And that's Morning Chest. Coming up next is a perfectly blended fragrance. I would give it a 10 out of 10, but it has familiar DNA and it's not overly original to me, so I'm not going to give it a 10 out of 10. But it's a 9.5 fragrance out of 10, easily. Well blended. The fragrances smell similar to, I would choose this over that due to the performance and just how it smells and the added greenness and woodiness that it gives. This is from the house of Xerjoff. This is 40 knots. A lot of people put this in their summer list. I won't put it in my summer list. A lot of people are going to tell you it's aquatic and will make you get it. It's not aquatic the way you think aquatics are. It has this sea saltiness to it that's, to me, coming from driftwood and ambergris, although neither of the two notes are listed within this composition. It's green, it's spicy, it's warm. The fragrance it smells similar to is Dior's Ambre Nuit. So if you took Ambre Nuit and you added some greenness, made it a little bit beefier, and added like some more saltiness to the fragrance, you would get this. But this is a wonderful fragrance. If it wasn't for the fact that it smelled like the Armor and weed, I'll give it a 10 out of 10. But I ain't giving nothing that smelled like something else a 10 out of 10. I'm just not. That's my how I rank my fragrances. But over than that, it's perfect. A perfect fragrance. And that's Xerjoff 49. So those are my top 10 recommendations for transitional fragrances for autumn 2021. These aren't the best of the best, but these are 10 fragrances I look forward to reaching for in this time, this transition time. As we start going deeper in the fall, I'm going to give you a fall list, and I'm going to give you that deep fall list where those ambers and tobacco is going to come out. So stay tuned for those videos. With that being said, y'all already know the deal. I'm going to leave you the way I greeted you, and that's in universal language of peace.